So we are aware of the situation in the world at this moment. We don't want anybody to think that we weren't having any compassion or not worried or concerned about it. This podcast is for everybody kind of have a break from the world and the things that are going on in it. We don't diminish them, obviously. We don't condone them, obviously. But this is just more lightheartedness to hopefully put smiles on people's faces.
Welcome to the Bush League Podcast, a show about nothing and everything.
Listening all the time. Oh man, I literally just hit record before you said that. They're listening all the time.
So you recording now, Jay?
The Sasquatches?
I hear them in the woods.
Oh shoot, we should have.
Which picture is the infamous Trish Stratus one?
Up there. It's up.
The top?
The one on the top, right?
There's actually 3 copies of it in that frame.
Now here's the funny thing. He says that, and I get a piece of paper from England because I'm now a Laird.
Explain this to me.
What are you talking about?
He's a Laird.
I'm a Laird.
There's nothing wrong with the way you look.
I feel like Laird is the way that Schmidt from New Girl would say Lord. I'm a Laird.
I'm a Laird. So for Christmas, I got a plot of land in a castle in Scotland.
Yeah, you did.
So now I own a spot, and they send you you fill it all out, and I even have fishing rights apparently there, which is kind of funny.
Cameron, what are you talking about? What are you talking about right now?
For Christmas, I was given a piece of land, a small piece. I don't quite know how big it is.
On the moon.
No, in Scotland, to rebuild a castle in Scotland, because that's how they're trying to rebuild the grounds and rebuild the castle. So,
But who? From who?
Katie's cousins. It was part of a Christmas swap gift thing that they do every Christmas. So,
We do Tim's cards.
well,
And you get pieces of land to build castles on for a Yankee swap?
He's a Laird.
I'm a Laird.
Man,
So you can be a Laird or a lady, and you can't say Lord in Scotland because that's a British term. So Laird is what they use. So I got this thing, and you fill it out online. So I thought, well, it gives you even an email at Laird. You actually get like a Laird email address. It's
I
kind of
want to be a Laird.
Yeah,
.com?
it's awesome. So anyway, I filled the form out online. I thought, well, that's it. I don't know. Well, 3 weeks later, a package comes in the mail. It says, "Do not bend." Big envelope, "Do not bend." And I'm reading. I'm like, Royal Mail. That's Britain's mail.
That's a weird way for Trish Stratus to send an autograph.
I would think. So anyway, it was in the mailbox. The mailbox was opened. It wasn't jammed in. I pulled to Katie. Goes, "Oh, look, you got something." I said, "Cool." I'm like, "Well, it's not bent. Passed the first test." I open it up. Here's my certificate of me, my official certificate that I'm a Laird. Not a mark on it, not bent. And I'm just looking at it going, so that's what happens when you're nice to your postal person. It doesn't get bent in half.
They shall not bend the Laird's mail.
And it says in real small letters in the corner, "Do not bend." Not huge letters. There's this little corner in red, "Do not bend." And I automatically thought to Tyson.
I just have a lot of questions, man.
Go ahead.
So what do your cousins do? Sorry, sire. Me lord. Or me laird.
Me Laird.
Sorry.
It's all right, peasant.
I'm going
Yes,
to
me
refer
lord.
you in Warcraft sound
lord.
bites now.
Laird Hare.
Laird Hare of Exmoor.
Alrighty then. I live to serve.
Righto. So what do your cousins do that they can give you land to build castles on?
They're Katie's cousins. Anyway, it's not that expensive, Jay.
But like, is this like a service or something? Or
No,
what
you buy them. You know remember those seen on TV kind of deals? You used to see them all the
What's
time.
TV?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember anything about promising land, though.
But this is what it is. It's because they're trying to people bought it after there was a fire and they couldn't rebuild it because they didn't have the money. So then they thought, well, if we sell plots of land
So these are small plots, like they
small,
divided up.
Okay,
you
so
can stand on
that
it.
was my question, is
Like,
how big is
because
it?
one
He's
of the
not
guys.
going to build on it.
No.
Okay, that's where I'm going with this.
No, it's like a small little spot. Like one of the guys I work with, he was from Scotland and he got one too, but he has a tree on his, apparently in his little
So you've
spot.
got like one Minecraft square of land.
I do.
you could
and
put a
actually
sign on it that
actually
says
gives
this
me,
is-
It actually gives me the GPS coordinates
And if you're a
of where it
landowner-
is.
Wow.
If you're a landowner on former royal land in Scotland, you're actually a laird.
Correct.
That's so this is a cool way to take advantage of an old law that legally makes you a laird.
Correct.
You have
What
to
a
go
good
over every
time.
week.
I'm
and
not
move
anti
along.
that.
That's a
Well,
good time.
I kind of was thinking if I ever go over, I'm going to have, and they give you one free pass that you can go in and see your plot of land.
That's
One?
fantastic.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a laird.
But the first, I'm reading through it and I'm like, okay, cool. And then it says, and you also have fishing rights. I'm like, what? Am I beside a river? And then I looked it up and it is beside a river. So I have
Where?
like river view. Like
So how
Are you
big's
on like
this
the
plot
cliffs of
land?
Dover?
the plot.
The Highlands.
It's in the Highlands of Scotland. It is. It's
Wow.
called Durham Castle.
Ooh, this sounds very outlanderish.
Man, yeah.
Do you have a dragon?
No.
Okay, so jokes is how big is the plot of land? Like, is it 3x3 or something like that? Or-
It's something square foot. It's small. I don't really remember the exact size in the back of my head.
That's so
but
funny.
It's kind of cool though. It's like you own a piece of land in Scotland and you're now a laird.
Well, you talk
And if
about
a woman gets it, she's a lady.
wow,
She's a lady.
man, you really want to commit? Like, there's no way you can just decide to not do that anymore and be like, oh, these people want to put a gas station here. You'd have to ask like 400 people for this tiny little plot of land.
Well,
Do you want to
technically-
sell your 3-inch square piece of laird?
And you know what? I wouldn't be. I'd be the standout, and I'd be standing in my spot, going, "I'm not moving. You can't take my land."
That lady in the house the mill built around. Yeah, won't move.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's
I-
amazing.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
When
it
I
is
filled it
cool.
out, I thought, oh yeah, it'll just. But then when the form actually came, I'm like, they actually send you the form, and it's like just a piece of paper wrapped in cardboard. And like I said, I automatically thought of Tyson. When it said "Do not bend," and I pulled it out, and it was perfect.
That's the part I'm still hung up
Well, it
on.
came from Britain too. Like it came all the way from
Wow.
You said
Britain.
it's like Royal Mail.
It was
like,
Royal Mail. That's Britain's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine can't make it from Chatham to here.
I'm still so in the back of my head. I keep thinking, what did you do to your mail, like your mail person?
Are you a hockey fan, interested in collecting hockey memorabilia, or know someone who is? 506 Breaks is the Facebook group for you. Often imitated, never duplicated. 506 Breaks is your place to get and win signed hockey jerseys, pucks, and picks. Home of the $5 headliner, dynamic duos, and the insanely fun Sunday Fun Day. 506 Breaks will fulfill all your hockey collecting needs, and you meet other collectors while doing it. So stop by and give Stu a hello from us. Check out 506 Breaks.
Well,
What did you do?
I hope Canada Post listens to this podcast because I'm about to do more. Are you ready? No. But what? So like Jeremy and Gary, you guys don't live here anymore. But like when see the general.
But we're not bitter.
No, but the people listening won't. So a couple weeks ago, and I'm talking, they did this right before Christmas. So like, but like weeks ago, I get a parcel slip. I never get a parcel slip because say what you want about my mail person, I never get a parcel slip because it's here. It's damaged, but it's here, right?
It comes
So
fast.
I go down to Chatham, which for those of you like I live in Bushville, it's 5 minutes or less from my house. I'm talking.
It's about a mile and a half.
It's really not anything. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple kilometers,
Right.
a kilometer and a half.
So I go to the post office and they said, "I'm sorry, there's no parcel here for you."
Oh,
And she said, "Do you have your slip?"
I know where it is.
So she scans my slip and she says, "Oh, this is why. This isn't your post office anymore."
what?
What? Oh,
Don't say.
Well,
don't say
what you guys
Newcastle.
just said is what I said, right?
He's gonna say.
Oh
Newcastle.
no, it gets better. It gets better.
Okay.
I said, "What? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's like I could walk to this post office. What do you mean this is not my post office anymore?" She says, "Well, you're the last road over on the new
Zone.
like they drew up the new
They do
zones."
new zones.
Oh.
So then I went across the river to Newcastle
Shoppers.
to Shoppers.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
Is my new post office. And so now I'm talking Bushville is in the same zone now as Eel Ground.
What are you talking
So
about?
Bushville, part of Newcastle, Eel Ground, Nelson, down to Barnaby. So if you live in Barnaby, you drive to the Shoppers in Newcastle to go get your mail.
That's like a 20-minute drive.
Instead of a 10-minute drive. Like it's not even a logical. And in the
What's on the
meantime,
other side of this line? Like,
I know
what a
I'm having this
weird-
moment of like, okay, like so part of me gets so Eel Ground goes to Shoppers, and even like if you're in Nelson, you cross the bridge and go to Shoppers, or if you're okay, but I'm in Bushville. I'm literally so now I take 15 minutes to go to one instead of literally less than 5 to go to one. Who drew this line?
That's what I'm wondering.
And
Yeah.
didn't tell anybody.
Now, that's the thing. They didn't tell anybody.
They didn't tell anybody. I had to go into the post office and go, hey, where's my parcel? For them to go, oh.
You know
what I mean? At 10 to 5, this isn't your post office anymore.
Yeah, here's my parcel. Get out.
Well, I guess tomorrow after work, I'll book aside some time and drive over to, instead of the convenient on my way
Holy
to and from
smokes.
home. And
But that's
so
the thing when
weird.
they start chopping things up like that, right? Like they always like, oh, we're gonna rezone this or redo that. Somebody always gets
Well,
caught somewhere, and you're
that's
like,
the same thing they did with this. This isn't even funny. So this isn't. But with the schools, here's what they did. Because I keep hearing whenever there's a snow day now, they go, oh, well, back in my day, blah 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 blah. We went to school anyway in weather like this, and I'm sitting there.
It's true.
Yes, but yeah, and it is true. But back in your day, the school was smaller, and you could walk to it. Like there was no.
I'm not going to deny that, but
No.
but also the person who actually plowed the road was my grandfather. So I kind of knew that when Granddad
Yeah.
went by, I was going to school.
But when I hear so like as an example, but like it's if we use James M. Hill as an example, James M. Hill now currently, if you rewind 40 years ago, is representing what used to be 4 different high schools.
Yes.
So back in the day, if there was a snowstorm and you lived in the Bay, you went to the school in the Bay. But now you're getting on a bus and driving 45 minutes
Yeah.
to James M. Hill.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now if the roads are bad, it's a way bigger deal.
Well, and that drive
Yeah.
is that's a long drive anyway.
It's a long drive anyway.
Yeah, because a lot of those rural schools don't exist anymore.
They don't exist
No,
anymore.
exactly.
It's all it's true. Like all the smaller schools that like there was in Bailey and St. Andrews and
Yeah.
all this. Well, now they all go to King Street. It's one school now.
Yeah.
It's one bigger school, which means the kids are all coming from farther away. But as time goes on, it's the same thing with everything, right? Like there used to be like 16 districts or 20 districts
Yeah.
in the whole province. Now there's 4,
yeah.
See, they
right? Like they keep amalgamating and stuff gets smaller. But then when there's a cancellation or something, it's a bigger deal because it affects more people.
yeah.
They tried that up in NSER in the 60s. They tried to close NSER and made everybody go to Miramichi Valley. They did it.
They tried to.
They
yeah.
tried to
Yeah.
close it.
It's been
It's like
more
5 years
recently than
after
that.
you graduated.
Nice. Nice.
Cameron's the founder of the school.
In the 60s.
Listen, you will refer to me as your Laird.
Laird.
Yes, me, Laird.
Laird Hare.
No, but I do find it people like.
Yeah, it's and those
But
things
when
are
people
arbitrary.
but when people fail to understand even the concepts of like this territorial, like yes, when you were they never canceled like this from when I was young, and like I see those posts on Facebook. It's like yes, but you didn't drive 45 minutes to school.
No, because
Yeah.
literally how
You
far
drove 5 minutes to
like
school.
literally how far did I live from the high school? Literally, it really was
5-6 minutes.
5 maybe 5 minutes maybe at the most. Depends who you drove with. You could get there in 2.
And me too. But if I lived in Napan or the Bay, I could be a 40-minute drive
Yeah.
away.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But then
So
you wonder who the person sitting there going, yeah, well, you see this street here? Yeah, we'll just cut them right here. It's like,
I know.
Who
I know.
arbitrarily just looks at a map and goes, yeah, well, you
We'll
see, the
stop.
guys in this side of the street should have to go to Newcastle, and the guys in this side of the street are going to have to go to Chatham.
So your
Well,
neighbor
here's-
could literally be going to a different. Like I know
here's
you got to
the
draw
other
the line
thing.
somewhere.
Yeah, here's the other thing. Like I do too. I put myself in that person's shoes. And I'm like, okay, the weather's pretty bad today. Do I want to say everyone has to go to school?
Somehow.
Find out something happened
Exactly.
because I decided people should go
Do
to
I
school
want that on
today.
me? Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, you don't want that on you.
Yeah.
No one would.
No, especially like in the further they drive, the worse.
Well, and you
Yeah,
can drive
it
through,
is.
and like we've all seen it when you're driving. Like Gary and Tyson, like we all lived in Fredericton, and when we drive from Fredericton to Miramichi, you could sometimes have driven through like 7 different weather situations,
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh,
in a
yeah.
heartbeat.
It is not. Well, what the weather's doing in Escuminac is not what it's doing here during a snowstorm.
Even Jeremy leaves Moncton. Jeremy leaving from Moncton to here, he could drive through like 7, 8 different, it's raining here, now it's frozen here, now it's snowing here, and now it's hailing here. Like, it's just...
Well, I've left Moncton during a snowstorm saying it's going to be fine.
Getting worse.
And then we just get past Shediac, and it's like, yeah, I can't see.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fine in town. I was in Dieppe, and everything was okay. And I've been driving for half an hour, and now I can't see.
I found it really bad when I used to drive from Sunny Corner.
When you used to drive from PEI to
when I drove from Sunny Corner all the way to St. Andrews where I lived. At the time, it was crazy, the weather. Like, I went in a snowstorm one time, and my dad said, well, it shouldn't be too bad. You should be fine. I was like, okay. So normally it took 2 hours to Fredericton before the new highway and 2 hours to St. Andrews. So at 7 hours, I was still in the car, and I'm like, and at that point, you're committed. You're 100% committed. You're like,
no, I agree.
You can't
you're
go
not
back.
Stopping now.
You're like, it's 7 hours, and you're like, anyway, I finally got pulled into St. Andrews, and it had snowed. I swear, like, the snowstorm had followed me every step of the way, because I called in the middle of it to my dad, and I say, hey, what's it doing up home? Oh, it hasn't done anything in your hours. He said, it's nice, it's clear. It's like, yeah. So I followed the whole system from like the top part of the province right to the bottom part. And it just followed me the whole way. And my roommate, when I walked in the door, he goes, where have you been? And I'm just staring at him. And he goes, and he kind of looks at me, and he had to know him. He's a real joker, right? He had a little grin on his face. He goes, bad drive? So at that point, I threw my hat and mitts at him. And then he said, bad drive. And he was good with it, but he asked me how long it took, and it took 7 hours one time. From Sunny Corner all the way to St. Andrews, which should have only been 4. It took 7.
And I was like, should have left my camper trailer at home.
Should have left the camper. I should have picked it up and put it up in Wawig and left her there.
Wawig.
That's a place.
I know.
Everyone's going to know where that is.
Shout out to Wawig. Look it up in a map, people. Educate yourself.
See, I did something. I used to go from Presque Isle to home, right?
Oh, yeah, you know exactly what it's like.
So I know, because it would be fine when I left, and I'm the same as, well, I've committed now.
Yeah.
It was actually on one of those trips where it snowed real bad.
Did you go to the Plaster Rock?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're just insane.
You just get stuck.
I only got stuck once.
Let's drive on a road that nobody's on.
The only time I ever got stuck was, and I know you'll, so like there was a truck in front of me going real slow.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, you have 3 spots you can pass there.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Right? Because you can't see. And so like one of the spots came up and I went for it. And no sooner did I pass than I went around a big turn down a hill, and there's 3 moose on the road. And it looks like they're licking the salt off the road, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
They're out on the road. So the moose, I slowed right down, and the moose, just like there was a crossing guard there, cleared off the road, went in the ditch. I drove by, and I look in my rear view, and they walked right back out in the road. And I just had this moment kind of in my stomach, like, oh my gosh, that truck's coming behind me though.
Yeah.
So I slowed down to see if the truck was going to be okay.
Yeah.
The truck was okay, but I slowed down too much, and here I am trying to get up the hill. And this truck's coming behind me. I'm like, oh, no. I'm trying to get up the hill.
You want to like stick your head out? I had good intentions. My intentions were good.
The poor guy, like, coming behind me, like, oh.
Tyson and his Cavalier. Was it a Cavalier?
No, it was a
Sunbird, wasn't it?
Sunbird? Was it the red one or the wine one?
Yeah.
The little Sunbird.
Yeah, the burgundy colored.
You know how
the interior was the same as the outside.
you know how much power they had.
Oh, yeah. No, there was no guts to that at all.
None.
It was a miracle I passed the truck.
Yeah, you had to time it.
My claim to fame on one of those trips was I had the first Subway toasted sandwich in all of New Brunswick.
What?
So there's a little Subway in Plaster Rock. And when I found this out after, because I needed to know, but this is the most random. So like I'm coming through the other side, right? And like Jeremy trucked us, so he'll know what I'm talking about. I can either stop and get a slice of pizza at the Irving, or stop at the Subway.
Cross the bridge.
But that's it. Right? There is no, so one or the other. Is it grease today, or is it, you know? So I stopped at the Subway to get a sandwich, and so I go in and I order I think I got the barbecue rib. They don't make those anymore, but I think I ordered the barbecue rib and all the stuff and everything. And it was you got to understand, because this was before, and the girl says, would you like that toasted? with like the most positivity I've ever heard come into the subway.
Wow.
And I remember like I had to ask like, what do you mean?
Hold her.
And she said, well, we have a toaster oven now. We can toast the whole thing.
Shut up.
And then it turned into, I was like, sure, I'll get it toasted. She runs to the back and says, he ordered it toasted. And out comes another girl and this guy who blatantly owns the place, not in uniform, but like with a polo and all the stuff and everything. And they're watching me.
As one of those confetti poppers.
Oh, yeah.
You're number one.
Yeah, you're the 1,000th customer today. And
You're like, am I in Impractical Jokers?
yeah, but here's the thing. I didn't even clue into, you know how like you're having this moment of you think after? Like what's happening? So they're all watching me with the sub. And then she rings me through. And then I say, can I get that to go, please? And you could see them almost get deflated, like, oh, like they wanted to watch me eat this thing to see if I liked it. And then I'm realizing after, like, was that just like, I've never heard tell of this. And then the subway in town. So the next week on my way through, I had to ask, like, was that was you?
You're the guy.
They're the first subway to have the toaster oven in the province. And I was the first customer to be like, yeah, go ahead, toast it. And then I just left with it.
Irving and Plaster Rock was the first toaster oven in New Brunswick.
No, there was a Subway in this little building, and then the Irving was across the road or whatever.
Was the Subway not in it? See,
No.
it's been a while. I can't remember.
It might be now, but it wasn't
Yeah.
then.
Not then, boy.
It wasn't a standalone either. There was a little plaza with like 3 different things in it.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And
So
Subway
it
was
in
one of
there?
the things in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm getting it.
Yeah, it might probably move to the Irving.
You
like a lot of
totally
them did.
crushed those poor people. They were so excited. They were all raring
You
to
know how
go.
you're not even realizing?
Tyson just oblivious as usual.
Well, and here's the thing.
Well, it sounds like that guy campaigned hard.
Yeah, but
Like,
I
you know
now
what I
know. Because I remember, you know that drive through there with the rock cliff and all the stuff and everything?
Oh, yeah.
I just have this visual of like the rocks are up to my left, actually, because I'm on my way home, not my right, and all the stuff. And it's a windy road, and I'm trying to eat this sub, and it's harder than usual because they
it's hot.
toasted it, and the bread's flaking off all over me. It looks like a beige snowstorm on my lap.
Your
all this-
burgundy car.
Yeah, you know how, like, to this day, now I know, if I get a sub toasted, I only toast it if I'm eating in.
Yes.
And if I'm not eating in, I don't toast it because the bread's going to be hard as a rock by the time I get
it's gonna
home.
flake everywhere.
But this was literally the first. I remember, like, what do I do? Like, it's flaking everywhere. Like, there's almost no bread left. Like, it's just disintegrating in my hands. Oh yeah, it just looked like. Oh yeah. If I had gotten pulled over, it would look like beige cocaine all over the car. Like, it just,
Listen, man, I know all about getting accused of doing drugs in Western New Brunswick. I can tell you all about that. I can tell you about Oreo donuts and how not to eat them. Or to have a mirror.
or have a mirror, or check the mirror.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
oh no, I gotta hear that.
Oh, I already told
I
it.
told
I
him.
told the
I
other.
don't remember that.
Oh wow.
No big surprise.
Wow.
Have you taken your medication, me Laird?
Hand me that bottle of scotch.
You see what you're there, Scotch?
I
Was in
wish-
Scotland.
Exactly.
I
Very
wish you
good.
just all of a sudden had like a thick Scottish accent.
No, I'm not doing that. We know my accents are terrible.
That'd be great.
Hey, to come out talking like it is.
Cut your act.
Oh my lord. Wow. Oh my lord.
Everyone is Super Mario. Oh man.
Some people do that though. All their accents sound the same. I saw a clip the other day of Tom Holland, and this guy, it was playing a joke on him, but Tom Holland didn't know it was a joke on him, doing like the press releases for Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the guy's accusing him in the interview. He said, "If you don't mind me asking, what's with the fake British accent right now?" And he said, he's doing the whole, like, well, what do you mean? Like, I did, yeah. And he's doing the whole bit. And he said, well, Spider-Man's not British. And he said, no, he's from Queens. and there's poor Tom Holland trying to like explain, like he went into an American accent and back out again as he was talking, like he said, like I have a dialect coach to help me practice. So like I can do my American accent. And then he went right back into, I'm actually from London. I'm an actor, right? Like
Oh, wow.
He's doing the whole bit, like back and forth. And the guy's giving him the hard time, like, oh my gosh, would you stop? Like, and you could tell Tom
Isn't
Holland's
that-
getting more and more shook. Like, it's like, this guy's not, like, who's
He
interviewing
doesn't-
me right now? What is
As
this?
a kid-
Like, what?
See, that sounds like something I stumbled on all these old Gordon Keith interviews? You ever hear tell of him?
Nope.
He kind of did the whole like, Between Two Ferns thing that with Zach Galifianakis was one of his interviews. And really, like, he was doing the whole intentionally awkward thing before Zach was. And then they teamed up because I think Gordon Keith was a producer of Between Two Ferns, and they worked together on it. But I think he actually worked for it was like Entertainment Tonight or something like that. And it was weird because it was kind of a joke on the show that he would do these intentionally awkward interviews, and he would keep a completely straight face, and he would do exactly something like that where he would get upset, where like why are you doing a fake accent, and that would be the interview.
You know who the best though for switching between voices is Seth MacFarlane. If you've ever heard him do an interview with himself as he's talking, he's doing Quagmire.
Well, I mean, he had to
Stewie.
do that for the whole show.
But I mean, in the middle of it, when you watch him doing it, he turns his head one way when he talks like one of them, and then he'll turn his head the other way when he's talking like the other guy.
But it's the same. I've seen what's his name there. Is it Castellano or whatever his last name is? He does like 8 of the voices on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
He does a bunch of them. Like he does anybody from Moe to Homer to
Bernie
to
you wonder
Krusty. It's all the same
That's
guy.
like the guy that does Captain Turbott's the same voice as Mayor Humdinger.
Mayor.
It's the same guy.
It sucks that I know what you're talking about.
It's like the guy who did Optimus Prime. He also did Eeyore.
Yes, he did. And he did one of the voices on G.I. Joe too. What one was it?
I don't remember that one.
My mind was blown the day I found out that Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince was Shredder. Oh my gosh.
That is funny.
Look at Cameron's face. He didn't
You didn't know.
I
Didn't know.
I did not.
Picture Shredder grabbing DJ Jazzy Jeff by the back of the pants and just heaving him out that door.
Are you serious? He was the voice of Shredder?
James Avery was the voice of Shredder on the cartoon.
Shut up!
Turtles. Oh yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
It's him.
Uncle Phil.
You remember when Shredder was annoyed with Will?
Jazz. We did that in 2 takes.
Oh man.
Do you know you can rent that house now? The Fresh Prince house?
Oh yeah, no, it's just
It's
you own
big
a piece
thing.
of it?
Not yet. When I
have to
sell
call
my
you
piece of land in Scotland.
Cameron owns the back left-hand corner of the pool.
We also have to call you the Fresh Prince.
The fresh Laird of Mirror Machine. Podcast title.
Let's do a story all about how my...
Went up in Scotland.
Take a minute, just sit right there, tell you how I became the Fresh Lord of land in Scotland, but I live in Miramichi.
Well, Jeremy, they just flowed together like, you no effort.
Pretty good, eh? Not bad. Speaking of that, did everyone see the halftime show and get all nostalgic with Eminem?
I heard there was a
50?
concert and then something a football game after.
Yeah. I will say,
I thought it was great.
even when they were at their prime, that was never my cup of tea.
No.
Yes.
But that was the first halftime show in a long time where it ended, and I'm like, oh, it's over?
I know, yeah.
Like,
Like,
I could have done 10 more minutes.
Same
Yep.
boat. Like, not my cup of tea. I knew all those songs, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is fun. This is great.
Yeah, for the first time in a long
Yep.
time, it was...
Jeremy reliving his youth.
Well, no, but I've had a
I
handful
do remember
of
the
bands
party in the club.
Yeah. No, but like I always said, and like they missed the boat on some of these, but I always said like there's some bands that aren't like the super, super, super mainstream bands that I think should get a shot at the Super Bowl that I think would, or groups or rappers or singers, but like they were one of them
Yeah.
that I always said. And then it finally happened. That was good. I think they missed because, Eddie's gone, but like Van Halen
Yeah.
would have been an insane halftime show that I think
Yeah,
would have been
like-
underrated and people would have lost their minds. I'm still
Typical
waiting.
NFL fans.
I'm still waiting for like a Foo
Wouldn't
Fighters Metallica combo or something to take
See, that's
over.
what I figured. I figured they'd
halftime.
get them at least
But-
one point.
So my understanding though is do you not pay to be the act? Like I don't think
Pepsi does.
Yeah.
Is that how that works? You're
Yeah.
sponsored
Pepsi
by
picks the
them
artist and
to-
Pepsi sponsoring the thing.
would
And
Would
Pepsi
you know
pays
of
for rights to.
any big major band that would pay to do something?
Well, the biggest stage in the world. I mean, like,
Well,
I
you're
would get
just
it. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's,
like I guess like
Has
I think if
AC/DC
you were
ever done
paying for it, it would be more current people that would be paying for it, not
yeah. But like
retired.
last year, as an example,
fair enough.
the Weeknd did the halftime show, got paid a lot of money to do it, and then his downloads like 100,000 times over or whatever on all the streaming services. Like,
yeah, a good investment.
and he's another guy, not my cup of tea, but as Phil would say, there's a couple of earworms there that.
Yeah,
It's like some of his songs. It's like you're humming the melody a day later, and you're like, "Who? I don't even know whose song that is, but I'm humming the."
Yeah.
I'm actually loving a lot of this modern music that's bringing back the 80s vibes.
Me too.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
like
Yeah.
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd, yeah.
Like
A lot of
lights and all that. So like it's
Mayer's
not a.
newest album is
I
like
haven't listened
very,
to
it's very 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
the
don't
old
even
synth
remember
sounds.
the 80s, Gary.
Oh, I do.
Jeepers.
I was a child of the 80s when you were a
An adult in the
Elvis
80s.
mustache.
A statesman of the 80s.
Listeners don't know, but Cameron used to babysit us.
He's doing it right now.
Yeah,
Literally, Mom wouldn't leave me home alone unless Cameron was staying.
It's true. It's true.
Man.
They went to Florida and left me because I stayed with him and Brad.
Yeah.
The only reason I did it is so I could get an extra hour's sleep.
Oh yeah, for the mail run.
For the mail
that
run.
worked out for you. Oh,
That story's
gosh.
been told too. We're getting
Yeah,
to that
that
point.
story's
There's
been
not
told,
much
too.
that hasn't been said.
You guys know everything about us.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Let-
a little.
So let's get serious for a minute.
Oh, I thought you were going
okay.
somewhere.
No, I wasn't
That's-
actually. I was just
Oh.
trying to be funny. Getting it work.
Speaking about how well you know us, I'll give you an update on how oblivious I am to things. On the way over here this morning, I was about 3/4 of the way over and realized I still had my winter jacket on inside the car with the heat cranked at 32.
Man, it's hot in here.
My shirt was
Man.
like covered in sweat. And I suddenly realized, I'm a little hot.
I mean, I can understand being oblivious to like world news, but like, isn't that all of your senses failing?
Yeah, exactly
Gary
what I'm talking about.
This is Gary we're talking about.
Gary's the example of if you put out a frog in boiling water, it jumps out. But if you put it in cool water and just slowly crank up the heat, he'll sit there and not notice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
you always were a little bit of the oblivious one sometimes, but
Wow.
it's like, really?
Like, I've been in here for 90 minutes.
But how is the oblivious one probably the most quick-witted? I don't know.
I don't understand that either, right?
He always thinks of something to say in the middle of.
That is interesting though, because like I don't plan how I look for anything. That's a shock to anybody. But I forget. I played in church there the other week, and I played the whole thing with my hat on. I meant to take it off, and I just, I just,
Tyson's
you know
looking
what I mean?
over at me real quick. He's like, keeps looking at me.
Pretty liberal church. No one said anything, but in your mind, I'm like, whoops. Anyway. But I do plan my attire for a long drive because I'm like, okay, the car takes this long to heat up. So like, I want to have something I can take off quickly. Maybe I'll let the car run first. I'll let it warm up. So then I'll just go out in my t-shirt carrying the jacket, put the jacket in the seat. And now I'm set. I don't even have to make any adjustments mid-drive. That's the kind of clothing.
See, that's what
stuff
I do with a
plan.
hoodie. I take a coat, but I make sure I have a hoodie that's zippers. Not one pulls over your head, because if you have a pullover on your head, it's just pointless.
Why can't you do that when you drive?
Because I'm not that coordinated.
See, I never travel alone. I always have my family with me. So I'll get Heather to like grab my arm and start pulling on it so I can pull
Pulling
my
on the
arm
sleeve.
out.
Yeah.
But the worst
So then,
part
like
is,
3/4 of the way over, I'm
Touche.
like putting my arm in the back seat and I'm like trying to pinch it and squeeze. And
but the best part is when you're trying to pull that
I
sleeve.
wouldn't dare pull over.
I know, right? I was just gonna say,
If someone's pulling your sleeve and you twist your arm just that certain way and you get that cramp in your arm and then you're stuck and you can't get through your shoulder and you're like, start to panic. Like,
You do start to panic.
Yeah.
It's like, hurry up.
It's this weird split second claustrophobic, like, oh no.
I can't get it off.
I cannot operate this vehicle correctly. So Heather, well, I was just going to say, if you're listening, call Gary. I mean, don't call him in 2 weeks whenever this comes out, because then it won't make any sense. But maybe we should tell Heather to call you on your way home so you
Maybe
don't end
she
up a little
Periodic updates.
Yeah.
Do you know what though?
Gary, is your jacket off? What's the temperature in the car?
He could be driving at this point. He might be listening, and Heather would be like, "Gary, take your coat off."
Just
Too
shows up.
funny.
You're just walking, sweat pouring off. Just
Stepped out of a sauna.
Where have you been?
what happened, Gary? I don't know.
all I did was drive home.
I just drove home. You had your jacket on? Yeah. I had the heat on the full the whole way.
Heated seats, heat crank, heated steering wheel, winter jacket.
The steering wheel managed to turn itself off eventually, but yeah, the heated seat was still on 90 minutes later.
Even the steering wheel was like, I don't think he means to have this on anymore. His skin should be boiling. Let's turn ourselves off.
I think we've just cooked his hands.
Oh, wow.
That's hilarious.
Well, it's funny because I have my old Scout, right? And Dougie does the plowing because he likes to plow. Anyway, it was a couple storms ago. I'm like, it's super cold out. Like, it was when it was super cold when it snowed. I think it was like minus 20 someone, 22 or 23 when it was snowing real bad. Anyway, I look in, Dougie drives in the yard. Dougie's in a t-shirt. I'm like, is there something wrong with that boy? But then he's like, I'm completely decked out. Like, I got the snow boots on, the snow pants on. I'm freezing to death. And Dougie's sitting there. And I'm like, I look at him like, what are you doing? But are you wearing shorts? He goes, man, he said, the heater in this old truck. He said, when you turn this heater on, he said, get in for a second. I'll show you. Now I'm like Gary, fully clothed. I sit down in the seat and I'm like, instantly the sweat instantly starts. I'm like,
I'm like Gary,
moly.
not you guys. I'm fully clothed.
I'm in with my coat on, my hat on.
I just want to point out that me and Tyson do not drive naked.
I'm like Gary. I'm fully clothed.
Now, Jeremy, that's not true. There was that one time.
That's true. Another story that was
He
already
had to
told.
eat.
Just because you went to the border officers and they had to
No, see, I'm the type that so I'll go out to shovel, fully decked out.
Yep.
And as I shovel, more layers of clothing are coming on. Because it is cold. It's minus 12.
Yeah.
But
now here goes the jacket. Now the hoodie's unzipped, the toque's off.
It's
because I'm just dying of heat as
It's so great, right? Because you're sweating, then your sweat freezes, and then
that's the worst part. Yeah.
And then you walk in the house after and wonder why you start shaking. It's like you were overheating, and then you didn't realize how cold you were because you were so hot from the
Yeah.
You go inside and your mustache starts melting.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You pull those little ice cubes off your mustache.
Yeah. Always good.
Yeah. Fully clothed, though.
Fully
Let no
clothed.
rumors be spread.
What are you talking about, Jay?
Yeah.
He got pulled over truck driving for that one time, didn't
Yeah.
he? Driving naked.
Oh, man.
I believe so.
Can you get out of the truck, please? No.
I'm good. No, I'm good right here. Thanks.
A lot of stuff that goes on that doesn't get spoken of. Everyone in the convoy knows what I'm talking about.
It's pee jugs everywhere.
Let's drive 24 hours.
Did I ever tell you so? Like when I was doing the ice roads?
No.
Well, you're only going like when you're loaded, you'd be going 15, 20 kilometers an hour across a lake, frozen lake.
Because
right?
you can't move
If
the
you go
ice.
too fast,
Yeah.
it'll make the ripples. And
Well, you're going slow enough, like, and you're actually not allowed to stop. Like you can't stop on the ice.
imagine.
So when you have to take a leak, you just open the door and stand out on the running board while it's in cruise, and you
How
hold.
big are these lakes?
Yeah, but like to be fair, there's nothing to your right. There's nothing to your left.
No,
there's nothing.
So,
yeah, I guess.
Gordon Lake,
you
you're on
veer
for-
off into nothing.
You were on
There's nothing
Gordon
there.
Lake for 2 hours.
2 hours.
And you were on McKay Lake for 4 hours. It took you 4
Going
hours to get
15
across.
kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
You could have got out, run ahead, and waited 20
Oh,
minutes.
The way I would describe it, it's like.
But to be fair, that's deceivingly big because, as you say,
Yeah,
if you can't go over 15 kilometers an hour,
Yeah.
that's why you're on
Right.
the lake for 4 hours.
That's
You
right.
can't go more than
100%.
50.
So
Yeah.
the
A
distance,
60-kilometer lake.
the distance from the Yellowknife to the mines is about the same as from here to Halifax. But it would imagine taking 12 hours to get to Halifax and like about 8 to get back.
Holy
That's how slow you
smokes.
drove.
Wow.
So, but like say it was slow enough that you would just look and be like, no one's coming, no half tons cruising around, and you just open the door while it's in cruise. You stand out on the running boards while you're driving, hang on to the
-50.
Man,
Yeah, well, like
Hoping it doesn't freeze
the
on the way
first
out.
time must have been a real trip.
yeah, it was honestly because I'm like, if I fall off, this thing's just gonna drive on. I know it's
Driver.
going slow, but like I don't know if I can
Run 15
catch
kilometers
it.
an hour to
Yeah,
catch
like
up.
I mean, I don't know.
with your pants down.
Yeah, with my pants down.
Now, we're starting to get back to the Tim Hortons Cup, boys. You had to be cold.
No.
The door blows shut and locks you out on the running board.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's like you're like, okay, because you open the door, you're like, well, which way is the wind blowing? Because if it blows, if it's blowing behind you, it's gonna blow it all over the door. And so
Which you've done.
you get these company trucks, right? And you're like, the things that have gone on in here. You know what I mean, right? You get assigned a truck that's been around there for years. Like, stuff's happened in here. I know it has. It's not good. I was fortunate. I got one of the new. They were new at the time.
I got the new one to soil it.
Yeah, the new Max. It only had a couple seasons worth of people in it, so it was fairly good. But
So I've seen the videos where they take the hot cup of coffee and throw it in the air in the cold.
I've seen that.
Is it similar?
oh yeah. Well, it's in all fairness, yes. Yeah, it is. I mean, you'd if it was that cold, you'd have to try to figure something out. But thing is, you get acclimatized
Funnel and a hose,
to it.
boys. A funnel and a hose.
You'd surprise what you get acclimatized to. That's the weird part.
I was just pictured like a cartoon. It's a race to finish before the freeze makes its way up the screen. It's like Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat. Like it's.
But no, to your point, it would be like on average, it'd be like -40 and -50, and that was without the wind. Yeah,
That's
Wow.
cold, buddy.
yeah, it was good.
A
It was
bad
good
spot to
times.
get frostbite on.
Yeah.
You need somebody to knit you up a little stocking or something.
Gary, are you offering?
Gary sent us that article about that guy in the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the cross country skier.
Oh my land.
And that wasn't the first time he did. He frostbitten twice.
Yeah.
Twice. How do you do it the once and not the I'm sorry. I got frostbite on my thing.
What's going on there that this guy particularly had such a problem with that?
Twice.
Yeah,
We should tell them what we're talking about here.
Gary,
Gary?
you tell it better.
From what I understand, a cross country skier was competing in some very cold temperatures and
In the Olympics?
in the Olympics, and I don't know what the other one was, World Championships or something.
Yeah,
And
And he's from
suffered
where?
from Finland.
Yes,
yeah, I
Finnish.
think so.
Suffered a frozen unit.
Frostbite on the unit.
Yeah, like,
That sounds like the absolutely most painful thing. Do you ever know? Think about it. When you're a kid and your cheeks got like frostbitten, and you thought, my face is going to fall off. It's going to
You
peel
look
off.
at them; they're wearing. It looks like they're wearing spandex, but I always assumed it was like scuba diver type.
Yeah,
stuff. It
like
would,
a
keep you warm.
thermal
Yeah.
suit or something. Yeah.
yeah, but the way it only happens to him, it's like, is he wearing like chaps? Like, what's he wearing out there?
But
You
the
know?
funny part is he said it happened
Maybe
not
there's-
like halfway through he realized what was going on, and he seemed to have picked up his pace coming toward
Yeah,
the
it's a good motivator. He set a record.
Maybe it's his technique. He has so much friction in that one area that it's wearing away the thermal protection.
Oh man.
Yeah, they tried to stop him at the finish line. He's like, nope. Where's he going?
Where's he going? He's heading right to the hot tub.
What a strange
Oh, what pain!
But I don't understand because there's stuff now like
We're we're an advanced society.
Yeah, but
here,
electric
people.
socks.
yeah, but my kids.
Hey, I have those. I got those for Christmas. I did. I got electric socks for Christmas, and they work.
The
Did you get
Laird
3?
got electric socks for Christmas.
Do they come in a pack of 3? the Olympic electric socks pack.
The 4 rings of the Olympics.
You just see the cord running out of the pant leg.
Two D cells.
Hey, wait a second. Where's that going?
Why are you walking around with a car battery? None of your business.
Attached to his back. Oh, wow. The jokes aside, I was picturing, because like my boys have had these when we've gone to watch like the Santa Claus parade or something, but they have those hand warmer kits and stuff in the bag.
Yeah.
And you crack it almost like it's a glow stick, and then it gets warm inside and it keeps your hands warm.
Yeah.
Well, those are small and super lightweight.
You put that
and they don't get hot, they just get warm.
Yeah.
Like, is there no... Are they not aware of this technology, or are they not like...
Very weird. I don't know. I think Cameron's onto something. It's motivation to shave a couple tenths of a second.
I'd say a couple of seconds, maybe minutes.
Shave a couple of tenths of a second off to shave some other things off afterwards.
I'll tell you, if I'm going up on stage to play, and I have to go use the bathroom or something ahead of time. Often I'll avoid going before I go up just to keep me focused.
If you
to the point. I've seen you wait a little too long.
Gary,
that's a true story.
There have been
Gary,
some tense moments.
Gary, you seem to be speeding up an awful lot. Shut up, keep going.
Pick up the tempo.
Gary, we're doing a ballad. Why are you headbanging?
The night that we all had Adas. I remember your dad was so disappointed because he came home early and you had a family pack. I had a family pack. Gary had it all to ourselves, and we all ate the whole thing. Like, we all had like 8 pieces of fish and all this. And then we go to play. We're at youth. We do the whole thing. We're there early. Prayer room with Pastor Keith. We were there for practice, whatever, did the whole thing. We're up on stage. It is 5 to 7. Pastor Keith's trying to get things going, and all of a sudden it's like, where's Gary? Gary? Where's Gary? And like 5 after 7, Gary walks in, just looks at me like, yeah. Like, there's nothing he could do.
Wow. Which bathroom did you use?
The upstairs one by the nursery.
The one at the end of the hall? Yeah.
A little more privacy in that back corner there.
Yeah, no fan, small room, the poor soul that
right
opened that.
beside a major hallway with a hollow door.
Yeah.
It's like a Japanese bullet train.
Oh, speaking of which, boys.
Speaking of Japanese bullet trains.
Yeah, but so like so I had COVID.
He had the vid.
Yeah.
Carry on.
We couldn't say anything, we're on a medical private thing. We can't say.
Well, and if everyone listening could mask up, because I'm just joking. So, right? No, but oh gosh.
So what does this have to do with Japanese bullet trains?
Oh, you'll see. You'll see it's tied in here in a minute.
Yeah, Jeremy wasn't here earlier it's so
the lingering effects.
Yeah, so like I will say this. So I'm really getting tired of people online going, it's just a cold. This is stupid. I will tell you, I have never had a flu or a cold still making me sick 2 months later.
Yeah.
So I will, on a serious note. On the kind of funny note is what those symptoms are.
Well, funny to us, maybe not funny to you.
But everybody's immune system's different.
Yes.
Like, how many times have you had a flu go through your house years ago?
Oh.
And not everyone's as sick as each other.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, some people, like, it just wrecked them. And then the other person, it's like, well, they're sick and they're not feeling well, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not down and out. Like,
they're not down and out. Like, they're the ones kind of taking care of everybody because they're not feeling well too, but they're just not as sick as.
Yeah.
But you kind of start looking at stuff like that. Like, think about during the Middle Ages, like when when the Black Plague went through everybody, right?
Well,
Yes, Laird.
Yes, Laird.
Certain people have that in their DNA now. Like, certain groups would have that they survived it, and it wouldn't be as bad. But then you see other people that if they got it, like,
Well, the genetics of someone who did survive it unscathed.
Exactly. Like,
If you didn't have it, you died. And if you did have it,
Well,
you kept
here-
having children and handed it down.
Well, here's
right?
an odd example. This sounds so weird. So, growing up, I never had chicken pox. I never had the measles.
Never had the Black Plague.
Never had the Black Plague. But
I did and I did.
my mother and father, my sister and
Not
my
the plague.
father. Now, I was in the same house as my mother, my sister, and my father. They both had the chicken pox. All the kids in the neighborhood got the chicken pox. So, like any other mother at the time, do not send me hate mail.
Oh man,
I wish
please send
listeners
Cameron
could see the
Hare.
look on his face when he said that. Do not send me hate mail.
We're gonna put his
My
email
postal
up.
worker's great. I'll get it. Send it to Tyson. He'll probably never see it.
You have to send it through the Royal Mail.
The Royal Mail. So what all the mothers did back in the day was when one kid got it, they sent you to the other kid's house to get it. That's just the way it was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
To get it over with.
To get it over with.
But you'll never get it again.
So they sent me to three guys' house that all had it. 4. They sent me to 4.
I just want to point out though that when you get it as a kid, is it not much easier than when you're an adult?
No, when you get it as an adult, it's very bad.
So that's what I mean. You might as well send them. You might as well get it when you're a kid.
Excuse me. Yes, exactly. So anyway, that's their thought process back in the day. That's just what they did.
Yeah.
Well, I never got it.
I hear the pen's going now.
I never got it.
Through the Royal Mail's going.
The Royal Mail. So I never got it. And Mom thought that was weird. But then my mother and my sister and my dad got it. I still didn't get it.
Because you are a chicken pox.
Well, no. And then I started asking.
Laird of the chicken pox.
I started asking questions of my mother. I said, Mom, did you ever have the chicken pox? She goes, nope. I was like, that's weird. She goes, I said, were you exposed to it? She goes, oh yeah, a whole bunch of times. I'm like, okay. I said, what about grandfather and my grandmother Mullen? She goes, oh, your grandfather Mullen had everything. I'm like, what do you mean he had everything? She goes, he had like whooping cough. And she said he had measles. He had the mumps. She said he had chicken pox.
Lived in an iron lung for a while.
He had everything. But we figure that's the only thing we could figure is that because he had immunity, somehow it has, because Mom is like older. I'm not going to say an age because I'm not stupid.
Do it.
Does she listen? Does she listen to this?
And I am.
Well, Cameron's 95. So.
And I am older. And I have never, I don't care my age. I'm 44 and I never got it. And I've been exposed to it like multiple times. Dad even got shingles. So he had the chicken pox. Then he got shingles as he became an adult. Oof. So it's kind of like, you kind of wonder about things like that because you're like, all right, I've been exposed to it so much. Now I'm saying this next week, I'll probably get the chicken pox. But COVID's gone. Let's give Cameron the chicken pox.
Yeah, but you would have been vaccinated when you were young, and your exposure might have built your immunity up to it. And
but back
either that, or
but
it's
not
fake,
that early, not
doesn't
that
exist.
young. I didn't have it for the chicken pox until I got older.
Well, Cameron, you were probably so hairy that you couldn't see any of the chicken pox anyway.
The germs are like, I'm tired of going through this hair. I give up.
The pox just keep trying to pop out, but they can't. It's a losing battle.
It's my superpower.
Can't even scratch it. It's like trying to land a helicopter in the forest.
Just hits the trees and bounces off.
I had everything.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I had the measles when I was a baby.
Wow.
They don't know where I got it, but it must have been in hospital because I was in the hospital for a little bit or whatever when I had that heart murmur when I was born and stuff. But then the chicken pox hit all 3 of us when we were kids.
Yeah, you see that but I mean it went all through the 3s, but it does seem weird that a mother would send her child there to 4 different places.
Now listen, I don't want to get into the whole political vaccine because we were talking about COVID and stuff
But
and everything.
here we go.
Yeah, but no. But I do. No, but just hear me out because it's not. So you can for, against, whatever. Don't care what the listeners are. Have at her. That's what your own opinion.
We don't care about listeners.
The actual beauty of freedom and all that stuff, right? But I remember, so like one family member of mine who shall remain nameless, but I guarantee you they don't listen to this anyway. I remember actually pitched one time that where does Tyson get the curly hair from? No, wait, because this is how genetics work, Cameron. I just feel like I wish we could be recording Cameron's face when I tell you this next part. No one in the family has curly hair, but Tyson has curly hair. Used to have hair, right? Tyson has curly hair.
I understand.
Where does he get it from? They said, well, he must have got it from Grammy. Mom, right? They said mom. Yeah. Grammy. She used to curl her hair every Saturday before church. And this person wants to give me medical advice.
You know what?
Understand where I'm going with that?
You know what? I got a cold.
You're telling
I need a donkey
me
kick.
Because she used to curl her hair. Let's say this is even possible. After my father was born, that it must have changed the DNA in my father, who had a child with my mother, therefore giving me curly hair.
Like, just stop and think about the implications of that for a second. and the race of
Hold it. Wait.
elite humans you could spawn if you just worked out
Do you
and
mean-
lifted weights.
It's a
and
wonder we
learned
haven't had this
skills.
rash of babies born with tattoos and piercings.
Oh my gosh. So like
Why is Tyson so much taller? Because your grandfather exercised and stretched himself every day.
we don't have to
Remember
worry
that
about
Tyson's grandfather used to reach for the top shelf every day?
Yeah, I mean,
That's why Tyson was born so tall.
why don't we just make, Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews and all these guys have tons of kids, so we'll have an entertaining NHL for generations to come.
Because it's all just genetic.
It's just genetic.
Not practice. It's not skill. It's definitely not healthy living or...
What?
I know.
Wow.
That's hilarious. She curled her hair. Like just
Curled her hair.
That was the honest suggestion.
I think all in that generation. They
Love
all
the person to
curled their
death that
hair.
suggested it, but
I mean, like you
it's
could
not
go
how
into
science works.
You
My
could
na-
go
my
into a
my
whole
grandmother used to
conversation about survival of the fittest and the whole thing, but it generally takes a long time
My grandmother
for
did-
traits to emerge.
Okay, well, my grandmother used to sit around the house in the curlers like 90% of the time. 90% of
Yes,
the time.
but grandmothers did that.
I know.
So like people are coming and going. But you remember back in the day, so now when the doorbell rings, everybody in the house ducks and goes, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody was coming. Who's that? Right?
But
we
my-
don't even like to answer the phone anymore.
No.
When I was a kid, you were excited that you raced for the phone.
Oh yeah, you could. In my house, it could not get past the third ring. If it got past the third ring, you were in trouble.
Yeah, but you also, because there was no caller ID, no anything.
No.
You didn't know who was calling you.
You're just excited.
Like, who's calling? Who's here? Who pulled in the driveway?
Sweet.
People didn't want their driveways paved because you wanted to hear the sound of the gravel when someone pulled in your driveway.
Nothing. As soon as you
Right?
turn the wheel.
And now it's the exact opposite. You duck and cover and you don't want it, right?
When I saw Seinfeld live, he had a joke about that, and he's like, with the phone used to ring. It used to be like, "I'll get it,"
Yeah.
and now the phone rings. It's like, nobody move.
Like in my house, seriously, it got to the second ring, and someone in the house would yell like in a panic, "Someone's gonna get that!"
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like.
But I was just thinking of your grandmother. Like back in the day, you'd knock I would do this at your house. You didn't know I was coming, but I was up that way anyway.
Yep.
Knock 2 or 3 times.
Walk in.
Let yourself in.
It's so funny,
Walk
eh?
into the kitchen. Hey, Cam. Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You've
no
done-
one cared.
We've done that.
So I'm only saying it to say his grandmother sitting around all day, every day
Yep.
with curlers in her hair for one day a week when she's going to take them out.
Yes.
And then guests come and go, curlers in her hair. But then you're going to church on Sunday, so the curlers come out.
Yep. Just
Go out the one day, go back,
back
in,
in, put them
curlers
back
go right
in.
back in the hair.
seriously, like it wasn't uncommon. Like, and my grandmother, she would growl you if you knocked on her door.
Yeah, let yourself in.
And Stephen Hare still growls. My cousin
Yeah, let
Stephen,
yourself in,
If
the
you
old
knock
school,
on Stephen's door, he comes right. Look, he goes, "What were you knocking for?
Let yourself
Like,
in.
what were you thinking?" I was like, "I knocked because," he said, "You know better. Don't knock."
And now we
All
duck and cover.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
even
We
when
don't.
we make
Well,
appointments,
you know, COVID's
like-
kind of made the kids that way too, right? The kids kind of like, "Oh, someone's here."
But like, is it weird that I don't even get, why do I feel, Gary's abnormally quiet for this. I feel like Gary's going to be like me on this. I don't even
it's
really get
weird.
dressed anymore when I'm home. No, like no. It's not like,
was right.
it's not like Jeremy
were
driving
you
nude.
planning on putting clothes on for this, Tyson?
Yeah.
You know,
Like, are you gonna go now and put them
listen,
I heard Cameron pull in the driveway. I put pants on.
Listen. As long as you're wearing socks, it still counts as clothes.
No, but isn't it weird? Like, but I don't remember because when I was a kid, like mom and dad, if they actually had a day off, which was for my father very rare, but they got up, showered, still got ready for the day, got dressed, whatever, came downstairs. I might be home today, but I'm doing something.
Yeah.
And now it's like if I have tomorrow off, I get up, I put on pajama pants,
Yeah.
I come pour a cup of coffee. And then like what happens is if someone knocks on the door, that's half a why. Like I was not prepared for this. I didn't shower, didn't even wash my face. I have a cup of coffee in my hand. I'm wearing pajama pants, mismatched socks, and a t-shirt with a stain on it from yesterday. Right? Like it was not. And I don't know if it's just a different. I do feel like the pandemic has not helped that because no one has had people coming and going.
No. And like,
But when I was a kid, it's like you got up, you got dressed. Like
well,
I was in trouble if I wasn't up and dressed before 9.
So
Oh yeah.
like on my wife's family, they basically laugh at me because I have like when I get up, I have to shower right away.
I do
put
too.
My clothes on.
I 100% do.
Like, I mean, I know we keep making jokes about when I say put my clothes on, I mean the clothes I'm going to wear for the day.
Yes,
For the day.
because in your head, and I can help you explain this, and I'll see if you're the same as me. If you don't do that, it's like you don't feel right. It's
You don't
like,
feel right.
You don't feel right, and you're like,
And it's
all
always
off.
in my head. It's like, well, what if someone comes over? What if someone's
Well,
And
yeah,
see,
that's
my mind doesn't work that way.
And you see,
Yeah, me either.
Used to.
even
Yeah,
when we
mine
were,
still
like
does.
when we were younger, though. Here's the thing too: when we got older, Katie always made fun of me. I'd be at home in a pair of pajama pants. She's
Yes.
like, "Oh, I want something at the store." I go into the room, put a pair of jeans on, put a pair of pants on, and Katie's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm putting my pants on." She goes, "You're just going. The store is at the end of the road. Like, why
Yeah,
can't you
I-
just? Why can't you
couldn't
just
do
go
it.
in these?" And I'm like, "There's something fundamentally in my brain."
I would be more comfortable to go buck naked.
It's true. It's
that would
true.
be the same level
Seriously.
of weird for
It's
me.
serious.
Yeah, I can't
Like,
do it.
So
Agreed.
this is timing, but last night I needed. Yeah, but here's the thing: when we knew you guys were coming for sure, like my driveway was so bad. Like I needed, like I'm out of salt. I at least need salt because you could skate out there. I need something, right? Like I can go pick up dirt, but I need. And so like I look down and I'm wearing gray jogging pants, but you know like the type of light gray that it is showing every stain of the last
school.
5 years.
The
Like
old
there's something. Yeah, there's something brown on this pocket over here, and there's something black on this, and I don't know what I kneeled into that was red, but there's red on my knee, and like it's all like they're clean, but they look like they're dirty. And I just kind of had this moment going out the door of, and I left them on.
But you see,
Yellow hoodie,
Yeah,
red
like-
Dickies flannel jacket,
I had-
jogging pants. I thought it's 9 at night, and I'm walking into Walmart.
Yeah.
I don't care. They'll see worse.
I had to train myself to do that though. In my head, whatever is wrong in my brain with that,
Yeah.
it's
I
like
have it too.
like you'd put jogging pants on. You're like, all right, I'll go out. And
Yeah.
and in the back of my head, I'm like, what? Like I need my jeans. It's
So
almost like
when
my
we do-
jeans are like my armor or something. It's
When we do like Christmas morning at my wife's family,
yeah,
they get borderline agitated
that you
that
need
I
shower.
am dressed like this.
Yes,
And I get up and
Because
I
they're
put,
probably in matching pajamas and all this
yeah,
stuff and
they got
everything.
snuggie outfits and the whole bit.
because right
thing,
at
and
the
I'm-
moment, Jeremy is in a 3-piece suit. I'm just saying.
yeah, you know me.
Laird,
Dress. You
Laird
can say one thing
approved.
about me. I dress to the nines.
Laird
all the
approved.
time.
I approve it, son. Carry on.
Yeah.
Kisses ring.
Maybe. Will you make me an honorary Laird?
I take the kids to school every morning. So I just get up and haul on the sweats that I had on for the last 2 or 3 days.
Yes.
And I take Caleb to school and I have to walk right up to the school with him and down with all the other parents and stuff. And
I'm with Gary.
Hold it.
Are you going to say what I'm going to say?
This is Gary we're talking about. So
His version of sweats is like,
yeah, his
And he has a
version of
top
sweat-
hat on?
Yeah, he probably has a fedora. Like Gary, out of all of us, and I'm just gonna say it. Out of all of us, Gary can pull off anything he puts on, any kind of attire. He
Of
just
the four of us, Cameron
seems
is attracted to Gary the most.
I absolutely am. Look at that specimen of a man.
I'll challenge. I'll challenge.
Oh, you'll challenge? Okay, all right.
the problem with that is, yes, I do have nice sweats.
See,
But-
I have nice sweats. Who
but-
says that?
I also only have nice coats. I don't have like workout quotes or something. So I'm going in like sweats and a fancy dress jacket.
I just
Okay,
want to
so
say, I just want to say, because people are listening to this, they're probably like, "Oh, those guys judge people that do that." No, I
No.
don't. I don't know what you're wearing. I'm
don't
not
care.
looking at it. I don't care what you have on. I'm just telling you
What we care
I
about in us.
can't. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I need to dress like
It's
in
like when
my
you-
version of normal.
When you got to a certain age, you started to wear.
Yes.
You hit that age.
I think COVID might have changed it though, because
It did a lot.
typically I would have worn jeans quite often. I just take them off when I come
that-
home
and
and put
that's-
sweats on. But now I
Yeah.
never leave the house, so I'm
Well,
just
you
in
see,
sweats
that's
all
like
the
Tyson's
time.
point.
Well, that's what I feel like. Like when
I get it.
I'm home, I'm home.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So I just don't bother. Is
Yeah.
I'm
See, like I had a
Yeah.
pair, like Katie made fun of me because I was still, when I was working from home, she was making fun of me because when I got up in the morning, I dressed in jeans and a t-shirt
Yes.
like I would always do. And she just looked at me, she goes, "What are you doing?"
So there's some days I worked at home. Now my like at work, it's pretty, it's pretty lax, like
Casual.
casual.
Yeah.
But you can wear jeans and a polo shirt.
Yeah.
I wore that at home. I had to feel normal.
See, I did that until
I did that at home.
Yeah, Katie goes,
no
I guess. Katie goes, here. I said, what are these? These are jogging pants. These can be your new work clothes. I'm like, and then I got so used to wearing them. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm okay. But going outside of the house, I wasn't at first. But now it's a little different because I went up the other day. I have a pair of black ones. There's like a hole in the knee. The pocket's ripped open. I was like, Katie looked at me. I come back there.
I hear you, buddy.
She goes, did you go out with that? I'm like, yep.
Like the pair of pants I wore to Walmart yesterday with my sneakers with a hole in one toe sticking out and my Dickies flannel jacket with paint stains all over it and you know what I mean?
I think COVID has wrecked fashion.
I was legit one of those guys last night that buddy was wondering what I did for a living. And if you had found, you know what I mean? Because it looks like
You know what's funny? How the extremes, and maybe me and Cameron are on the same, because we're in the middle for everything. Because on the things that you're supposed to get dressed up for, I don't do that.
No, I don't either.
I can't stand it.
No, I
don't want to look like. I just want to wear my normal thing every day, all the time.
It's
same thing.
It's like whenever
red, green, same thing every day.
It's like a wedding or a funeral. You think in your head, you're like, gotta get dressed up for that.
Yeah.
Do I have black jeans?
I did think that one night. And I was like, no, I'm wearing black ones. I'm like, no, they're a little faded. You can't get away with it.
Trish every time.
As if the answer is going to be different.
What if I wear the jeans that you like? Can I just put those on? I'll wear your favorite jeans.
So true.
Can I just do that?
I feel the same.
And you're hoping you can sneak it by like you're 9 years old, asking if you stay home from school, because you have this stupid thing where you can't put nice pants on for one event for part of the day. You know what I mean?
I know, because in the worst part is in the back of your head. Well, and of course, where you don't wear them very often, my big fear is, and I'm a big guy, I admit it, I'm not skinny.
I wouldn't say that.
And I go in and I go to my pants and I stare at those pants that I've had for 20 years. I'm thinking, I don't think I'm going to get everything in there.
And you say it like you're from the South. I don't think I'm going to get everything in there.
Shoot
I'm a Laird.
I'm a Laird, boy.
Too much Laird on me, Laird.
Laird. Hey, Laird. Laird.
So now that you're a Laird, all your pajama pants should be made out of velvet.
I was thinking cashmere, actually.
Oh, the appropriate tartan.
Exactly.
An appropriate textile.
So the opposite of that, I remember one night we're at Boom Road Church, and this was when the mill was at its prime, right? Running all, and almost every man in the city we knew was trying to get on call at the mill, right? If they could get in.
Yeah.
And dad wasn't on a regular schedule yet. It was all the overtime he could get. He was in the pool, right? They called it then, the pool of guys they called. So he's at church. And I think he might have even been playing bass at the time or whatever, but he got the call. He has to go into work. So he goes into work. He's got no time by the time he drops us off. Like we leave, he drops us off, goes into work. I remember him telling me the next day, he's in shirt, tie, long gray leather jacket, it's not trench coat length, but it's longer than, because he wore it to church this whole bit, and he's out sweeping by the wood pile, cleaning out in this long leather with shirt and tie on the whole stuff.
People driving by going, wow.
Well, yeah, but he's also on a shift with a bunch of guys he doesn't know. Right? But there's one guy he does know named Jamie, and this would be Jamie Leggett, hides behind the wood pile and yells that all the guys walking by, hey guys, like my new coat? And there's 10 guys he doesn't know all turn, and there's dad just sitting there like waving quietly. It wasn't him at all. It was this imaginary voice coming from behind like this is how he dressed for work on his first night on the shift.
Gotta make an impression, boys.
Gotta make a good impression. Dress for the job you want.
Dress for the job you want.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh man,
that's
I never heard that before. That's good.
But then here's the big thing. Then you get the really older gentlemen that are like in their 80s now. What's the first thing when you were growing up? Older guys always had the Dickie pants and the Dickie shirt buttoned up, long sleeve, 1,000 degrees outside. And these old lads were just, you like instantly start sweating when you see them walk by. Because you're like, it's 1,000 degrees. But nope, didn't matter what was going on.
Well, I think because...
Or if they took their shirt off, which was very rare, always had a tank top on. And it had to be white. And it was white as snow.
Like, and you can't believe, so there was another shirt under the shirt?
Yeah, exactly. Like, my grandfathers were both that way. Like, you're looking, you're like, Isn't it a little hot? He goes, oh yeah. And he starts doing something, takes shirt off. I'm like, you had an undershirt on under that?
This is July 29th. It's 40 degrees outside.
So you guys have seen it because this would have been my grandfather.
Need something to catch the sweat.
He's got, but he's
Moisture
got
wicking.
the dress shirt for work. That isn't for because he's a farmer and lobster fisherman. So he's got the flannel shirt on with the t-shirt peeking out from underneath.
Yep.
And then if it's real hot, he takes the flannel shirt off.
Yep.
And then you realize as he comes in for the night and takes the sweaty t-shirt off, you had an undershirt under the t-shirt that was under the flannel shirt.
I don't even
It's
know.
August.
I don't even know
I
when
think-
undershirts became a non-thing because I know growing up, I think I had one, but I mean,
I think being hot and cold is similar to sleep in that you can bank being hot or cold. And all of our
For later?
grandparents froze to death for half of their lives.
Yes.
Okay. And literally
Right?
had no heat.
And had no heat. And that's just.
well, my
So that now I can drive in my car. Portable sauna.
Gary, you got an undershirt on into that?
I do.
Okay, but jokes aside, I think you're on to something.
Well, my
right?
grandmother, when she got older, she had Tyson probably doesn't remember. I don't think you were ever in my grandmother's house. When you first walk into her kitchen, to the right, as soon as you walk in the door, to the right was her rocking chair. Exactly a foot and a half from there.
The mudroom was off the kitchen.
No, the mud.
Okay, that wasn't
she didn't
in
have a mudroom.
I'm thinking of the other.
So when you walked into Nanny's, the kitchen was to the left. Her chair was immediately inside the door to the right. And within a foot and a half was a little stove, like a wood burning stove. And Nanny sitting beside it, smoking, having a coffee, and it radiating so much heat you can't, as soon as you walk in the door, it like knocked you out of the
I know the type of stove you mean.
you
You're like,
couldn't-
whoa.
You couldn't even stay in the room. Like when I was younger, you walked in, that was the room you had to get through to get to where it was cool in a normal temperature. So Nanny would sit there and it was like get hot. Like she would cook, like when she was doing her stove, right? You only have 4 burners. Well, Nanny was the only person I knew of growing up. It's like, how did she like cook 5 things at once? Like this is insane. How did she do it? But she always used the wood stove to cook her potatoes and her vegetables, like on the top. And it was just there was no protection around it. It was just this little stove. There was a mama bear, a papa bear, and
And the baby bear.
and the baby
or
bear,
something?
and she had the baby bear, and it was small, but I mean it was so hot. Like she
Couldn't
wrecked.
touch it.
Well, you sit in her chair. She went through 4 or 5 rocking chairs because the heat dried out the rocking chairs to the point where the wood she'd sat in it one night and the wood just collapsed. It just gave up.
Dried out the wood
Dried
so
out,
much.
just boom, it was done.
Yeah.
But like those old people, and she could sit there. Wouldn't matter. It's like, Nanny, you realize it's, I understand winter is gone. It's April and it's like 1,000 degrees in this house. Like, I can't breathe. It was so hot you couldn't breathe when you walked in there. And she was sitting there. She goes,
Yeah.
oh, it's not so bad. I'm like, having a smoke, having a coffee or tea, and sitting that close. I was like, I don't even know how it's
Yeah.
possible. Like, how?
Oh, man, it's just the way they grew up with no heat. It was just like,
Yeah.
Maybe
I
that's
don't
why
know.
they always
I
wore
think so.
1,000 layers of clothes.
Also, like Trish's grandfather was a fisherman his entire life. He froze his
Yeah.
whole life.
yeah.
And so when we go down to visit him, it was like the first thing was like, okay, I
Don't
gotta
wear a hoodie.
Crack shorts
The heat in here.
Don't wear a hoodie.
because don't wear a hoodie and like just take shifts walking outside because you'll start to feel sick.
Yes.
It's so hot.
Yes.
And
But
like,
they're
that's wood
so
heat.
used to
And that's
being
wood heat,
cold.
right?
Yeah.
They have wood heat.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
wood heat
and
going
that's
through the whole house.
that's
and
the
it's-
difference too, right? I grew up with wood heat,
Yeah,
so my house was like
cooking.
cooking. 40 below. Dad and I are standing outside. Well, I went outside, thought I'd be smart and sneak outside in my underwear to cool off. And I'm like,
As one does.
as one does, because you're so hot. Anyway, all of a sudden I feel something bump me. I was like, what's that? It's like, Dad, what are you doing here? He goes, I'm going to die in that house. I'm like, you put the fire on. It's your fault. So we're sitting there. Mom comes in. Close the door. Your man going to draft. It's like 42 degrees in that house. We're dying. And Mom's in the next room saying she's going to die. I go, I can feel
Standing
the
out the
draft.
snowbank with your dad in your underwear.
So then what I did is I moved to Gary's.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Gary had
Yeah.
electric heat. And I went from wood heat to electric heat.
Yeah.
Didn't even know the difference. Like, oh, well, heat's heat.
Yeah.
So the first night I slept there, I thought I was going to die of the cold. I was like, I had
Just not used to it.
Yeah,
3
not
blankets
exactly.
piled on top of me. Like I wore like pajamas and socks.
Yeah.
So I learned unfortunately for your mother, to turn the heat up in my room.
Hey,
And
what's that sound? I think that's the meter spinning off the side of the house.
So
it's rolling down the road.
And Katie always.
Picture that scene from National Lampoon.
Yeah, had to keep the nuclear power auxiliary. So anyway, I opened the window, and then I realized, well, the sun comes in the morning, and there's big windows in the room where I was in. So I would open the windows, I'd crank the heat up.
Man, I've never been so cold that I'm timing the sun. I don't know where it's going to be.
Well, I was. Anyway, and of course, what I didn't realize.
That layer of hair, he's cold.
So I would leave for the day. Well, then I'd come home at night, and Twiddledee and Twiddledum here, Gary and Jeremy, were in my room. I'm like, what are you doing? You got the warmest room in the house. So I'd come in. I had like a little love seat, and I had my multiple video
Well, and you had your fish tank, so it was humid. It was like hot, humid, like it's like a tropical, like.
Just
forgot about
take
the
a
fish
minute to
tank
paint
in
this
there.
picture.
Oh, that's
Take
so
a minute
random.
to
I don't
paint
know why
the
I forgot
picture
about that.
here of Cameron's room. He's saying he has a love seat in his bedroom.
A velvet green
love seat. He has a lit up fish tank. All that's missing
Can
is
you,
like the shag carpet.
You can fill in the blanks of what's missing.
A couple psychedelic glow in the dark posters.
Hey, I had
A
lava
black
lamp.
light above the bed.
I did have the lava lamp. Remember, Gary? I had a lava lamp
Yeah,
too.
lava lamp.
I did have the lava lamp.
You're just making it worse, Cam.
Well, Gary's the one that helped me name my fish. Called it Dog.
Yeah.
Gary's like, call
That's
him Dog.
been
I'm like,
told.
what? Sounds like a
Man.
good name. Call him Dog.
Completely forgot about the fish tank.
Yeah.
I had beta fish. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
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 It was.
It was good
Wow.
times. Yeah, I'd come home and there's both of
random
them watching
stuff that
my
comes
TV. I'm
back
like,
to
what are
you.
you guys doing? They're like, it's warm in here. I'm like, yeah, because I turned the heat up. You're walking in Gary's room. We were playing like, what was it, every Tuesday night? Well, one night we always played Goldeneye.
Tuesday. I think it was
Tuesday.
every night. Almost.
Well, pretty much every night.
Yeah.
We go into Gary's. Gary had a little cat. We're playing, and I'm thinking, it's getting colder in here. I'm getting colder. I'm getting colder. Finally, I'm like, yeah, boys. Well, I think I'm going to go to bed. It was just so I could get into your room to get feeling back in my feet.
Good times. Well, boys, that's an hour and a half.
Like, all I did was drive home.
I just drove home. You had your jacket on? Yeah. I had the heat on full.
Heated seats, heat crank, heated steering wheel, winter jacket.
The steering wheel managed to turn itself off eventually, but yeah, the heated seat was still on 90 minutes later.
You just wasted some of your life listening to the Bush League Podcast. You must stop what you're doing right now. Like and subscribe and leave a 5-star rating. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like us on Facebook.